Welcome, dear listeners, to another episode of the Cosmic Stacks, where I, your weary, tentacled librarian, document the ongoing bureaucratic nightmare that is divine management. Today, we once dive into the absolute disaster that is the Celestial Census, a process that, despite my best efforts, refuses to stay finished. What happens when the gods decide they don't like their rankings? Well, they do what gods do best. Complain, argue, and drag an unsuspecting detective into their nonsense. Buckle up, because this one's going to hurt. For them. To begin, I have endured many horrors in my time as the librarian. Apocalyptic late fees, patrons returning books with entire microcosms festering inside them, the occasional reality-breaking Eldritch tantrum. But nothing in the uncountable ions of my existence has tested my patience like the Celestial Census. Every eon, the great bureaucratic machinery of the cosmos demands that all divine entities be accounted for. Every god, demigod, minor deity, and rogue eldritch being must submit their domains, titles, and any unapproved expansions of their portfolios. It is meant to be a simple process. It is never a simple process. The gods assemble, fresh from their grievances, ready to argue once more over their classifications, rankings, and whether or not Zeus's offspring list qualifies as a separate pantheon. Zeus arrives first, as smug as ever. He drops a scroll onto my desk. "Minor adjustments," he declares. I stare at him. "You added more names." Zeus shrugs. "You know how it is. Time is fluid, mistakes were made, more offspring surfaced." I unrolled the scroll. "You added a weather pattern. It had personality." Before I can contemplate removing Zeus from reality, Odin slams his fist onto the table. "I have reviewed my ranking and I refuse to accept this insult." Ra enters behind him, golden eyes gleaming. "Agreed. The sun is eternal. To place me alongside these lesser beings is an affront." Anubis sighs and folds his arms. "You're all just mad because Cthulhu didn't rank you at the top." Zeus scoffs, like we'd ever acknowledge Eldritch authority. There's a hush in the assembly. I slowly turn my gaze to Zeus. "Oh, you don't recognize Eldritch authority? That's fascinating. Tell me, Zeus, how many of your temples have mysteriously sunk into the sea over the last few centuries?" Zeus clears his throat. "That was geological coincidence." "Oh, of course. Just like how Odin's last unbreakable spear happened to turn into abstract conceptual thought after he refused to return a book on non-Euclidean warfare." Odin shifts uncomfortably. "That was an unrelated phenomenon." "And Ra," I continue, "do remind me what happened to that sun temple where the priest started calling you Ra, the bureaucratically inefficient." Ra glares. I refuse to dignify that with an answer. "Exactly," I say, folding my hands. "Now, who else would like to test the limits of my recognition?" Zeus, never one to let a moment of peace exist, folds his arms. "You know what? Fine. If you want me to acknowledge Eldritch authority, why don't you prove it?" The room falls silent. "Are you challenging me?" I ask, tentacles curling. "You, the man who once transformed into a swan and got stuck." "That was one time," Zeus snaps. "And I unstuck myself." "Oh, truly a great triumph," I say, voice dripping with sarcasm. "Right up there with your legendary battle against door handles." Odin, sensing blood in the water, leans in. "Wait, is this happening?" Is Zeus actually fighting an Eldritch being? Oh, I have to see this. Thor claps his hands together. This'll be better than the time Hermes tried to race time itself. There was fine print, Hermes yells from the corner. The cosmic horror rides excitedly. I will be selling betting slips, it announces, producing a horrifying amount of paper from some impossible space. Zeus straightens his tunic. Fine. I challenge you, Squid. Oh, this will be delightful. I snap my fingers, and suddenly, the library bends around us, shifting into an incomprehensible void filled with cosmic anomalies, reality glitches, and at least one paradox that knows it shouldn't be here. Behold, Zeus, a battlefield tailored to your defeat. Zeus looks around. Ha! You think a little cosmic terror scares me? I grin. No, but I know what does. And with a single motion, I conjure the most powerful force in existence. The one thing Zeus cannot fight. A fully documented paternity test. Zeus screams as the air around him shatters. The scroll hunts him, warping reality as it chases him through the battlefield. No, it can't be. I was careful this time. Ra watches in fascination. I must admit, this is quite the battle tactic. Ode 1, Odin says, stroking his beard. Do you think I could borrow this method? Strictly for research purposes. I smile darkly. I'll send you copies. Meanwhile, Zeus dodges through dimensions, hurling lightning in all directions as he tries to outrun the inescapable proof of his questionable life choices. He blasts it with divine energy, but it only grows stronger, feeding off his denial. The cosmic horror watches in glee, taking notes for future business ventures. I yield, Zeus finally howls. Call it off, Cthulhu. I yield. With a wave of my hand, I dispel the scroll. Zeus collapses onto his knees, gasping. I step forward. So, do you acknowledge Eldritch authority now? Zeus groans. Yes, fine, whatever. Just never again. I pat his shoulder condescendingly. Good boy. The gods burst into laughter, Ra wiping a golden tear from his eye. Odin claps Zeus on the back so hard he nearly falls over. Thor is still laughing. The cosmic horror hands Zeus a betting slip. You lost. That'll be 3 cosmic favors. Zeus glares at it. I hate you. I stretch, satisfied. Well then. Now that we've settled the matter of who is in charge, the census is final, the rankings stand, and if any of you so much as look at a form ever again, I will drag you all into an eternal cosmic filing chamber, where you will be forced to alphabetize the entire multiverse. A deep, horrified silence follows. Understood, Odin mutters. Good. I lean back. Eyes closing. Now get out. The gods grumble as they leave, muttering complaints under their breath, but none dare to push further. And that, dear mortals, is the real reason why gods never have time to tend to your needs. But we're not done here yet. No, I should have known better. I should have expected this. The moment Zeus lost our last battle, in a stunning, humiliating defeat to an inescapable paternity test, I should have anticipated the inevitable. Zeus trying to lawyer his way out of it. The gods have returned, not for another bureaucratic hearing, not for another pointless cosmic ranking squabble, but because Zeus has hired Sherlock Holmes as his legal counsel. The doors open. Zeus strides in, looking irritatingly self-assured. Behind him, in a crisp Victorian suit, stands Sherlock Holmes, consulting detective, pipe in hand. radiating the insufferable confidence of a man who has never been wrong in his entire existence. I set my quill down slowly. I'm almost afraid to ask. Zeus smirks. Cthulhu, I demand a formal legal appeal. Odin, sipping his divine mead, leans over to Anubis. Oh, this is going to be good. Ra folds his arms. On what possible grounds? Zeus grins. My dear friend Sherlock will explain. Sherlock Holmes steps forward, clearing his throat. Gentlemen, Eldritch entities, cosmic horrors. The issue at hand is clear. My client, Zeus, was unfairly robbed of his rightful rank as a 10th dimensional being. The so-called paternity test battles was clearly a misrepresentation of power and not an accurate measure of divine supremacy. I blink slowly. Let me get this straight. You, Sherlock Holmes, are arguing that Zeus deserves a higher dimensional status. Holmes nods. Precisely. I inhale, exhale across multiple dimensions. All right. Let's tear this nonsense apart, shall we? I gesture to the cosmic display, where the recording of Zeus's last defeat plays in perfect clarity. Explain, Mr. Holmes, how a god who is physically bested by a floating sheet of paper is worthy of elevation. Sherlock, unfazed, adjusts his cuffs. A technicality. My client was ambushed by a weaponized concept. I rub my temples. That's what a 10th dimensional being should be able to handle, Sherlock. Concepts are the foundation of higher reality. But no, Zeus lost to bureaucracy. Holmes steeples his fingers. An unfair contest. Had my client been aware of the challenge's true nature, he would have adequately prepared. I raise a brow. You're saying Zeus lost because he didn't read the terms and conditions? Zeus glares. Nobody reads those. Sherlock merely shrugs. That does not negate my argument. Odin chuckles. He's got you there. Holmes presses forward. Consider the vast history of my client's victories. His domain over lightning. His conquests in battle. His strategic... I cut him off with a snap of my fingers. The room shifts. Reality flickers. A massive Eldritch courtroom unfolds around us, tendrils of cosmic law stretching into infinity. Fine, I say. Let's put your logic to the test. I conjure a chalkboard of divine incompetence. A horrifyingly detailed list of every absurd thing Zeus has ever done appears. I point. Let's begin. Exhibit A. The time Zeus got stuck in the form of a swan. Zeus groans. That was one time. Exhibit B. The time he tried to seduce a cloud and then... Relevance? Holmes interrupts. The relevance is dimensional competence. I tap the board. Exhibit C. Zeus versus door handles. Odin leans forward. Oh, that one was legendary. Thor snickers. Took him 3 centuries to figure it out. Holmes exhales through his nose. Admittedly, not his finest moments. Zeus folds his arms. I am still a mighty god. I snap my fingers. A 10th dimensional puzzle box appears in front of him. It is unknowable, infinite, designed for beings who exist beyond time. Open it, I say. Zeus glares. He tries. He fails immediately. The box doesn't respond to force, only understanding. Ra leans over. Oh, it's not even budging. Odin nods. Classic 10th dimensional security. Zeus punches the box. The box does not care. Loki grins. Oh, I love this. Holmes examines the puzzle box. eyes sharp, fascinating. He moves forward, studying it. His fingers trace the surface. The structure shudders, responding correctly. A shift, a click, a portion of the box opens. The gods stare. I blink. Impressive, I admit. Sherlock smiles faintly. Unlike my client I observe before acting. Zeus glares. Traitor. Holmes brushes imaginary dust from his sleeve. I am simply demonstrating my argument. The test was flawed. It did not account for my client's strength, merely his ability to navigate conceptual riddles. I smirk. All right, then let's test strength, shall we? The courtroom shifts again. A cosmic arm wrestling table of infinite proportion materializes, forged from the very essence of struggle itself. Zeus grins. Ah, finally. Something I raise a tentacle. Not me, Zeus. You versus Holmes. The gods gasp. Sherlock merely raises a brow. Zeus laughs. Easy. He slams his hand on the table. Let's go, detective. Holmes calmly removes his coat, rolls up his sleeves, sits, and immediately obliterates Zeus in one calculated movement. Zeus screams as the force sends him flying across dimensions. The room erupts. Ra is crying. Odin is wheezing. Thor is banging the table, howling. The cosmic horror is taking notes. Holmes stands, adjusts his cuffs. I rest my case. Zeus, returning from his interdimensional trip, groans. Betrayal. I lean forward, tentacles curling. Zeus, you are not a 10th dimensional being. You are a storm god with impulse control issues. If we gave you absolute dimensional power, reality itself would be pregnant within the hour. Holmes inclines his head. A fair assessment. The room erupts into laughter. Thor falls out of his chair. Hermes is wheezing. The cosmic horror is vibrating with glee. Sherlock clears his throat. With that in mind, my client would like to reconsider his appeal. Zeus crosses his arms, sulking. This is stupid. I grin. Oh, I agree. Now get out. The gods chuckle as they leave. Holmes bows politely and vanishes back to his own plane of existence. And that, dear listener, is how Zeus lost a court case to reality itself, and Sherlock Holmes utterly humiliated him in the process. But am I done yet? No, your favorite Eldritch squid is never done, no matter what dimension. I have come to accept that my existence is a series of never-ending trials, all of them inflicted upon me by divine incompetence. Just when I thought the census debacle had reached its peak, after Zeus's pathetic legal battle, after Holmes personally disassembled his dignity piece by piece, I find myself once again staring down another unwelcome gathering of gods. This time, the problem isn't legal, bureaucratic, or even existential. It's customer service. A letter arrived at my desk this morning, written in the curling golden script of divine complaint forms. The complaint. The gods, it seems, have opinions about their rankings. Again, Odin, of course, is the first to arrive. Cthulhu, you're running a completely unfair system. I pinch the bridge of my primary tentacle. Odin, the rankings are final. No recounts, no appeals, no cosmic lawsuits. Oh, I'm not here for that. He says, waving a dismissive hand. I simply believe that as a long-standing divine entity, I am entitled to a customer satisfaction review. I stare. A what? A second voice chimes in. A customer satisfaction review, Ra says. stepping through a rip in reality. You claim to be an impartial overseer, yet I find my placement highly questionable. I demand the right to submit feedback. Zeus appears next, looking entirely too smug, given his many recent failures. And I, he declares, want to leave a formal complaint about the aggressive and hostile treatment I've received during this entire process. Hostile. I repeat flatly. I gave you 2 chances to prove your worth, and you lost to a sheet of paper and a detective. Zeus bristles. Unfair conditions. Oh, we're not doing this again, Anubis mutters, stepping in and immediately looking like he regrets it. Why am I here? You're all here, I say, voice echoing with the weight of my displeasure. Because apparently, you now believe the Celestial Census operates like a hotel chain, and you can submit reviews. The cosmic horror, ever eager to make things worse, materializes in the corner. Actually, I'd like to discuss the possibility of premium membership options. Odin clears his throat. I knew you'd disagree, which is why I hired a lawyer. I close my eyes. Odin dash. Sherlock Holmes. I snap my eyes open. How does this man keep getting around? Holmes, now standing beside Odin, adjusts his cuffs. That, my dear Cthulhu, is a mystery best left unsolved. Now, if we may proceed, I sigh, gesturing for him to continue. Fully prepared for another long-winded, logic-twisting debate. Odin leans forward, eyes twinkling with mischief. The essence of my argument is simple. Eldritch 1. Fairness. You claim to rank us based on power, influence, and cosmic impact. And yet my placement does not reflect my vast knowledge, my strategic mind, or the fact that I sacrificed an eye for wisdom. I wave a tentacle. Yes. And if we were ranking based on commitment to ominous aesthetic choices, you'd be first. Holmes clears his throat. What my client means to say, Cthulhu, is that the criteria for ranking are fundamentally flawed. The parameters are too broad, the methodology opaque. By what exact calculations do you determine a deity's placement? I give him a withering look. Holmes, you are aware that some of these deities exist in non-Euclidean geometries, right? Odin literally sits on a tree that is also reality. Ra is the sun. The last time I tried to calculate divine influence, the numbers started writing poetry about their own irrelevance. Holmes nods thoughtfully. So the system is so broken it defies arithmetic. It is not broken, I growl. It is simply cosmically nuanced. Odin strokes his beard. Sounds broken to me. Holmes smirks. Indeed, if a system cannot be measured, it cannot be objective. If it is not objective, it cannot be fair. I feel my headache vibrating in 12 dimensions. Ra crosses his arms. By that logic, are you implying I could technically rank above Odin if we redefine cosmic influence? Holmes raises a finger. An interesting thought experiment. No, it is not, I interrupt. There will be no redefining, no alternative interpretations, no debating the fabric of reality itself just because your egos are bruised. Zeus, lounging smugly, waves a hand. Sounds like you're struggling to justify the rankings. I glare. You lost to a sheet of paper. Holmes adjusts his cuffs again. I propose a challenge. Odin perks up. Oh, I like challenges. I groan. Not again. Holmes steps forward. A true test of wisdom and power. You and Odin will engage in a battle of intellect. A contest of wit, strategy, and logic. I rub my temples. Holmes, why do you keep doing this? He smiles, because it's fascinating. Odin slams a fist onto the table. I accept. The room shifts. The void rearranges itself into a chessboard of incomprehensible geometry. Pieces phase in and out of existence. The board is infinite, yet contained. The rules are both known and unknowable. I sigh. Fine, let's get this over with. The match begins. Odin makes the first move. His piece vanishes into the past. Holmes nods approvingly. Interesting. I move a piece. It simultaneously wins and loses the game. The board recalculates reality to compensate. Zeus is watching, slack-jawed. I don't even understand the pieces. Ra mutters, I think that knight just achieved enlightenment. Odin narrows his eye. Clever. Holmes watches with glee as I and Odin wage war across time, space, and logic itself. The chessboard reshapes every time we counter a move. The game writes its own myths in real time. Finally, I play a move so profound that the board simply quits. It vanishes, leaving behind a single resignation note. Silence. Odin strokes his beard. Well played. Holmes looks delighted, utterly fascinating. I cross my tentacles. Are we done now? Odin sighs. For now. The gods grumble. The argument unresolved, but no one dares to continue. And this, dear listener, is why I now charge a fine for excessive philosophical debates. Silence. I stare at it. Premium membership. I repeat slowly. It nods. Yes, perhaps a subscription model. Something where those of us invested in the cosmic hierarchy might receive perks. I do not respond. I simply turn and walk directly into the void. The gods continue arguing behind me. This, dear listener, is why I am officially charging a processing fee for divine nonsense. Anyway, don't forget to like and subscribe to find out more about Zeus's paternity test results. Subscribe to find out more about Zeus's paternity test results.